Hey there, are you in love with your cigarettes and Juul or your mod? Or, are you still in a bit of a love affair with smoking? Well, if you're super into smoking, this probably isn't the video for you. But if you are feeling a bit worn down and owned by your relationship to smoking, you're feeling a little over the fact that you are in this relationship with your cigarettes or your vape, and you're feeling just a little enslaved in this relationship, a little abused in this relationship. Well, here's the good news. My name is Rita Black. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, a smoking cessation specialist, and a vaping cessation specialist. And I have helped over 10,000 people become happy, healthy non-smokers. And I'm also a former pack and a half a day smoker. So if you're feeling owned by your relationship with cigarettes, or smoking or vaping, I am going to show you now in this video how to break up with smoking once and for all. It's actually a 5-step process, so let's dig into it right now. So the first step that you want to take is you want to just own that you love smoking or vaping. You should just own it. See, the problem is that we have this duality, right? We have a lot of guilt and shame, or often we'll have guilt and shame around our smoking and we'll be secretive about it. But then there's also this other part of our brain, which is what I call the smoker brain or the vapor brain, that actually will tell us how much we love smoking, right? And I will get clients in my office or people who talk to me in my online smoking cessation program, Smoke Free 123. And they will say, even though I'm sick, or even though there's something wrong with me, if there wasn't that thing wrong with me, I wouldn't be trying to quit smoking because I love smoking. So we have this guilt, but then we have this part of our brain that's telling us, oh, I love it. It's so great. So if you start to really just own that you love smoking, because when somebody says that to me, like, oh, I love it, and if my lung wasn't falling out, I'd keep smoking, I will often say to them, well, what do you love about smoking? I'm curious, tell me. And then they're like, I don't know. So it's very interesting, but when we really think about it, when we really allow ourselves that space to say, okay, I love smoking. What do I love about it? A lot of stuff, you might get some answers back, but a lot of the love actually isn't love, but it's just more things like the habit of it, or we're just used to it, or we associate with other things that we like, and it's actually not the smoking part of it that we like at all. That part's kind of dirty. That part is kind of clandestine, like we have to hide it, or we go out of our way to manage it. So if you own it, just own it. And what I mean is own it and love it without guilt. Take away the guilt. It's like Romeo and Juliet, right? Would they have lasted if their parents were really saying, hey, Romeo, Juliet over here? Probably not that mad, desirous relationship, that because it was a forbidden fruit, right? So think about that, and think about owning that you love smoking as your first step to breaking up. And then get curious, like, oh, okay, I love smoking, and now let me get curious about what I love around the smoking, right? So often what we love, like I said, isn't the smoking, but the stuff that happens around the smoking. Like, oh, I love my coffee in the morning, and I sit and listen to nature, and I get on my phone and do stuff. Or, oh, I love that break that I take after lunch, and I get out of the office and I go and smoke my cigarettes. Or, oh, I love coming home and pouring a glass of wine and sitting outside and doing that, right? But each of those things, when you think about it, is a reward act that is very pleasurable, but the cigarette itself only sort of opens the gate to that experience. It isn't the experience itself. So start to observe and look at the things that you think you love about smoking. Get super curious, and again, without guilt. And often you will find that what you really love isn't the cigarette or isn't the vape. It isn't that thing, but it is actually more what your brain tells you, like it's a reward. It helps me let down my hair. It helps me do all that stuff. Okay? And then the next step, you want to observe. Once you kind of get curious about that, then you want to start to turn the tide a bit, and you want to look at how, observe again from a non-judgmental, but to start to look how smoking owns you. Like how you are inconvenienced by the habit, by maybe having to go and hide, or standing on the street, or having to leave conversations in order to go smoke, or how when you come back into a crowded room, you're worried about smelling of smoking, or you get into an elevator with other people. Like, notice how the driver of that habit, that smoker brain, is kind of owning you and abusing you a little bit or a lot. Maybe it's keeping you from exercising or moving on with your life, or it's keeping you from putting yourself out there and getting a relationship, or it's keeping you from starting a family, or feeling good about retirement because maybe you don't feel healthy, or you're spending so much money on cigarettes, right? So start to just observe that. And again, I can't tell you that stuff, because if I told you that stuff, your brain would go, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I love smoking. I love smoking. It's very funny. The more people around us tell us, don't do it, it's bad for you, the more our brain wants to smoke. But if you start to observe it for yourself, and not in a judgmental way, but just like to go, oh, yeah, that I didn't even want to go outside, but that part of my brain that smokes did. And that kind of inconvenienced me, and that took me out of the conversation. And then when I got back, I had to worry about smoking, smelling like smoke. Just observe that. That will start to poke holes in that aggressive brain, the smoker brain, convincing you that you still need to smoke. It will start to take its power away. Okay? And then this is very important, and most people don't do this when they stop smoking, is they create a vision of what they want. We're very clear about what we don't want. Okay, I don't want to smoke. I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to spend all my money on cigarettes or vaping. But we don't have a powerful vision of how exciting it's going to be free and be a non-smoker. And I think that starting to cultivate that vision is one of the critical things that you need to do to be a successful non-smoker. When I work with clients, even before we work together, I give them coaching into how to get excited about the actual becoming a non-smoker process. And part of that is creating a vision. So think about that. Think about how exciting it's going to be for you to be a non-smoker, what that's going to look like out in your life, walking around, staying in conversations, smelling, not worrying about smelling of smoke or the heavy vape odor, or hiding it from people and all that stuff that kind of keeps you a prisoner. And then the last but not least thing is like, okay, so when you're breaking up with somebody, right, you got to really break up with them. You can't just try not to smoke. You got to say, we're done. You may have to make that decision to kick that part of your life to the curb, and again, happily to the curb, because when you're breaking up with somebody, you're really clear, like maybe you had fun in the beginning years of your romance with that person, or the beginning weeks or whatever, but you get to that point where you're like, we're done, and you really want to disattach. We become very attached to cigarettes. It's a detachment, and instead of just trying not to smoke, which is really kind of, we're still attached to cigarettes, we want to attach to being a non-smoker. We want to attach to that vision of where we're going to go, and we have to break up and put that behind us, because once you do that, it can be easy. Once you make the decision, you don't own me, I own myself, becoming a non-smoker can be powerful, it can be exciting, and it can be very freeing, and the best thing you ever did in your life, kicking that relationship to the curb. Okay, so I know you can do it. Own it, own your love for it, and then get curious, like, what is it that I like? And maybe it's not that, but it's something else. And then you're like, well, how does it own me? And start to pick holes in it in that way. And then start to create a vision of where you want to go. And then finally, kick the sucker to the curb, Become a happy, healthy non-smoker. Take your power back. Breathe freely. Have more money in your pocket. Feel so proud of yourself. Hey, look, I did that. I'm moving forward into the sunshine. You can do this. Hey, now, if you like this video or if you had questions about this video, comment below. If you have other videos that you would like me to make about stopping smoking or vaping or questions that you have below, subscribe. I put out a bunch of videos about stopping smoking and vaping and that are inspirational and motivational, because I know you can do it. So subscribe, keep the videos coming, keep the inspiration coming, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. Comment below, like us, and Smoke Free 123 is your place to get smoking cessation going, inspiration and motivation. All right, have a great day.